Come on, Gabriel. The convoy will be miles away by now.
Alright, I'm coming.
Come on!
Keep your moustache on.
Hi, I'm Rob Cram, and today we're taking a look at Lionhead Studios' Fable The Journey, which released recently for Xbox 360 and Kinect. Fable The Journey tells a tale of unwitting hero Gabriel and his sidekick horse Seren, who together seem to dream of adventure, but really are slaves to the mundane actions of real life. However, when an encounter with series veteran and seer Teresa, the adventurous life Gabriel craves is brought to life through a series of moral and obligating choices. Peter Molyneux has seemingly been an avid supporter of Microsoft's Kinect device, and so it's interesting to see the results of Lionhead's first Kinect-only title and how it works within the Fable universe. At its heart, The Journey is an interactive movie of sorts, taking the element of cinematic storytelling and giving players some control over the progression. Whilst there's none of the series' trademark choices, there is more focus on combat and travel. The first port of call, and something that is quite prominent, is riding with Gabriel's horse Seren across the lands of Albion. Naturally, players are required to adopt a seated posture that's akin to sitting on a cart, and are presented with the option to speed up Seren and steer. The motions required are quite intuitive, although the sensitivity does feel a little too high when steering. With windy and winding roads to navigate that offer no deviations other than the option to rest up and heal, it's a simple process of picking the right speed and collecting experience orbs which can be spent on upgrades. Steering into the orbs is the main gameplay element whilst driving the cart, although there are moments where players enter combat scenarios where Seren's controls become automated, leaving players open to let rip with the spells. The cart sections are well placed and add a sense of scale to the world, but also serve as sections which complement the depth of the characters, with banter and some insight into the world of Albion being major components. The cart sections also provide the greatest views of the world and really show off well how much effort was put into making this one of the best looking Kinect games to date. The kart riding is easy, can get tiring on the arms, and offers some entertaining, albeit repetitive gameplay. The Journey does a grand job of breaking up the repeated tasks to the point where the game can easily be sectioned into groups of gameplay nuances. Gabriel will often stop at points of interest, creating a sense of openness to the story, and on foot takes a look. These first-person sections are very much on rails, but allow players to focus on the combat, which, like the kart riding, is handled very well, when it works. There are other moments where players can stop at rest points and perform menial tasks on Seren, which in many ways could have offered a bit more variety. There's really no exploration in these moments and could have been a little more mysterious. The Kinect calibration is not so much an issue for the kart riding, but the precise nature of casting spells requires more input. Sadly, players might be required to fiddle with the settings before getting it right, but even then, problems still occur, with some spells not hitting their mark very accurately. The clear tutorials offer some help, but present a very dull and lifeless experience. It's far too tempting to flail one's arms around or add a bit of finesse to the moves, but this comes at a price of sacrificing accuracy. Finding some middle ground works, but there's an overall sense that the limitations of Kinect hamper what could be a top quality implementation of combative moves. The combat is probably the most exhausting, but the best part of the game, where players raise their arms to block, wave to select fireballs, shift from side to side to avoid attacks, and pull back their arms to unleash magical shards. Firing simple shots can be as easy as pointing a finger to thrusting forwards with palms. The game does a great job of keeping things fair, and more importantly, is so easy that players are easily overpowered, adding a sense of satisfying no fear to the scenarios, with Wolverines, large bugs, hobes, and several overly large boss enemies. The ease of play also makes the Kinect problem seem inconsequential. A tougher game would have likely been incredibly frustrating to play. Combat is fluid, satisfying, and allows for a mixture of spells to be used. However, in the latter portion of the game, there are some intense moments to battle through, which when working correctly are really fun to play. Fable the Journey does look very good and reeks of a bigger budget than most Kinect games. The world of Albion constantly looks beautiful from the cart and offers familiar looking locales laden with fine lighting effects fused with its animated art direction. The cinematic scenes are well placed and rarely take players out of the game world, although there are some pre-rendered scenes. The box proclaims The Journey being the best looking Fable game, and perhaps there's some truth in this statement, as some moments truly amaze. The audio is also of a high standard, with Zoe Wanamaker making a return as Teresa and Gabriel being a likeable and convincing lead. However, it's the script writing which has to be applauded, as it's laced with sarcastic and often dark humour which works very well with the context of Gabriel's unlikely heroic role. The orchestral soundtrack is grand and fitting, making the audio an exemplary part of the game. The journey offers quite a number of hours from start to conclusion, with no real options for replay, bar perhaps taking different paths and riding the cart, and finding the odd miscollectible. That said, there's an arcade offering which allows players to replay the combat sections and obtain high scores locally or online. It's a neat option to have for those wanting to get in on the action, but loses the scale and story aspect. Players can expect to sink 8 to 10 hours into the game's offering, and more if the high scores and achievements are appealing. Fable the Journey has always sounded like an ambitious project from Lionhead, and with Kinect integration being difficult to get right, it seems they have succeeded in making a cool game. It's not going to garner legions of hardcore fans, but gamers interested in Fable will certainly do well to give this one a look. It's also not the most exhaustive of Kinect games, which is a plus point, and it works well as a single player only experience. The negatives seem to float around the Kinect sensor itself and its fiddly calibration, but once a sweet spot has been gained, the gameplay, whilst repetitive, is highly engaging, feels natural and is a joy to play. Fable the Journey scores an 8 out of 10. I'm Rob Cram, thanks for watching.